Picture this. I'm out there with my hammer, building my dream cabin by the lake, when suddenly, boom, 3 police cars come racing up like I'm some criminal. Red and blue lights flashing everywhere. Neighbors peeking out their windows like it's the best TV show ever. And there she was, Karen from the neighborhood group, pointing at me like I just robbed a bank. "That's him," she yells. "He's building on our land without permission." I'm standing there thinking, "Lady, what planet are you on?" The big police officer walks over, real professional-like, and says, "Sir, can I see your ID and building papers?" "No problem," I tell him. I pull out this thick folder I've been carrying around because this Karen lady has been bugging me for months. "Officer Johnson," I say, reading his name tag, "there's been a big mistake here. This is MY land." Behind him, Karen's face turns red as a tomato. "Don't believe him," she shouts. "The whole lake belongs to our neighborhood group. I have proof." Officer Johnson takes my papers and starts looking through them. I've got everything. The deed that says I own it, maps showing where my land is, even water rights papers. The more he reads, the more his eyebrows go up. I can see he's trying not to smile. Finally, he turns to Karen and drops the bomb. "Ma'am, these papers show this man owns not just this spot, but the entire riverfront for 5 whole miles. That includes all the water access." You could hear crickets chirping. Karen's mouth just hung open like a fish. Let me tell you how this whole mess started. 3 months ago, I decided to build a cabin on land my grandpa left me. 20 acres of beautiful lakefront that's been in my family since the 1950s. It was never part of any neighborhood group. Just me, the trees, and the squirrels. I wanted a simple place. Solar panels, a little dock, nothing fancy. I'd been working at a computer job in the city for years, and I was ready to build something real with my own hands. On day 2 of building, here comes this golf cart flying down my dirt road like it's on fire. Dust everywhere. Karen jumps out like she's a soldier in a war movie. "Excuse me," she yells. "What do you think you're doing?" I wipe the sweat off my face and say, "Building a cabin. Can I help you?" She puts her hands on her hips and says, "This is neighborhood group land. You can't build here without our permission." I told her straight up, "This isn't your land, never was, and I've got papers to prove it." She laughed at me like I just told her pigs could fly. "All lake access here belongs to Maplewood Neighborhood Group," she says. "I don't know what trick you're trying to pull, but I'm stopping this right now." And boy, that was just the beginning of 3 months of pure crazy. Every morning after that, I'd find papers taped to my tools. Stop working orders, warnings, fake legal stuff that looked like it came from a kid's printer. I'd throw them in my trash pile with the banana peels. But Karen wasn't happy with just leaving notes. She started sneaking onto MY land like some kind of spy. My security cameras caught her more than once, tiptoeing around with measuring tape, taking pictures of everything. One morning, I found her standing right in my foundation hole, writing in a notebook like she was a detective. "Karen, you're on my land again," I called out. She jumped like I scared her. "I'm documenting rule breaking," she says. "Your hammering is too loud." "Lady, the nearest house is half a mile away, and it's 10 in the morning on a Tuesday. More lawyers, more threats, more neighborhood group people." She kept bringing more and more people to bug me. She even brought her so-called environment checker. Looked just like her nephew wearing a polo shirt. Then one day, I drive up and see new signs stuck all over what she decided was her boundary line. "Private property, Maplewood Neighborhood Group only." That's when I knew I had to carry my land papers everywhere. When I told her to take down MY signs, she just smiled and said, "Make me." I called the real police this time. So there we were, back to the police showdown. Officer Johnson stayed calm, didn't fall for Karen's drama. He hands me back my papers and asks, "Sir, do you want to press charges for trespassing? Sounds like this has been going on for a while." I looked at Karen. She went from red to white as a sheet. I pretended to think about it. "Not today, officer, but I'm putting up boundary fences and no trespassing signs. Anyone crosses them will have problems." Karen screamed like a banshee. You can't do this. The whole neighborhood uses that beach. Our houses are worth less without lake access. I just shrugged. Should have thought about that before you tried to steal my land. The cops left, but Karen stood there holding her clipboard like it was going to save her, watching her whole world fall apart. Word spread to the neighborhood faster than wildfire. By dinner time, my phone was ringing off the hook. Everyone wanted to know about the beach, the walking trail, what the neighborhood group really owned. The story got bigger and bigger. By morning, people were saying I owned half the county and was going to build a casino. The next day, there's a whole crowd at my building site. Not angry, just confused and worried. Jack, the vice president of the neighborhood group, steps up trying to be nice. Mr. Peterson, can we talk about the lake access? I kept hammering and said, nothing to talk about. It's my land. Always has been. Jack nodded and gave Karen a look that could freeze water. We get that now, but people have been using that beach for years. And I've been paying taxes on it for years. I shot back. Funny how nobody mentioned that when you put picnic tables on MY Beach. A lady in workout clothes, never seen her before, pipes up, we had no idea. Karen told us the neighborhood group owned everything down to the water. That got Karen even more dirty looks. She actually seemed to get smaller, all her confidence gone. Jack cleared his throat. We're having an emergency meeting tonight. Everyone needs to know the truth. And Karen, we need to know how this happened. My neighbor Tom told me about that meeting. He said it was a total explosion. Yelling, pointing fingers, people mad they'd been lied to. Turns out Karen had never actually checked who owned what. She just figured since they took care of the beach, it must be theirs. Classic Karen move. When they voted on whether to kick her out as president, everyone said yes except Karen herself. She was out that very night. Jack became the new president. But that wasn't the end of Karen's crazy train. 3 days later, I'm putting up my new fence and no trespassing signs like my lawyer told me to. I thought, okay, it's over, time to move on. But Karen had one last crazy move left. My cameras caught her at 2 a.m. trying to pull up my fence post with her fancy car. She got tangled up, dragged 50 feet of fence into the ditch, and left her car stuck like a beach whale. This time, I pressed charges, destroying property, trespassing, vandalism, the whole 9 yards. The judge was not happy, especially when he saw the video from my cameras. Mrs. Harrington, he said, looking at her over his glasses, you've shown a pattern of bullying and criminal behavior that's shocking for someone who was supposed to be a leader. $12,000 in fines, 200 hours of community service, and a restraining order to keep her 500 feet from my land. The look on her face when she realized she'd lost everything because she couldn't admit she was wrong? Priceless. But here's the best part. Right after the court case, as I'm putting my last fence post, I see the new neighborhood board and some neighbors down by the water. Jack waves at me. They actually asked if I want to host a yearly picnic on my dock this summer, like nothing crazy ever happened. Maybe the whole thing could have ended without courts and cops. But sometimes people need to see the line drawn in black and white before they'll respect it. Funny world we live in, right? So tell me, who do you think was right here? Was it about land, about pride, or just a mess nobody wanted to deal with? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Where's the line between community sharing and try and control everything? And what would you have done if someone tried to steal your land right from under your nose? Let me know what you think.